As we continue to get our weekly trailers for Bleach Rebirth of Souls, particularly character trailers, recently it feels like they've broken the pattern of what characters they're releasing, as in the order, because the other day when they released the Gin trailer, that caught us off guard, and once again they've caught us off guard with this Rangiku trailer, because it feels like they've really skipped some characters, but regardless we're excited for it, and it is quite cool that they're catching us off guard. It makes it more exciting and like, that anticipation is higher for when they release these trailers. And honestly, not a single one has disappointed so far. They've all been at least decent, with most of them being great. And this one's pretty good too, and I'm going to be discussing it in this video. I'm your boy Kaiz, and like, subscribe, and let's get into it. So obviously, like all the other trailers, it starts off with a stylish intro, like with the logo screen and the different fonts. Honestly, this game's like a whole movie. And then it says 13 Court God Squads, Squad 10 Heineko, and then it reads as follows, with Rangiku in the background. The charming lieutenant of Squad 10. She can turn her sword into ash and run freely across the battlefield. And of course we get like a little 360 shot of her pulling out her sword, and she does look great. It seems like they went more of the manga route, with her hair being more blonde rather than like orange, although I could be just imagining that. I should put a comparison on screen. But they're more loyal to it in the TYBW anime, and this game seems to be following that art style more than the original anime. Honestly, it's pretty hard to tell, but it's definitely lighter than the original anime and closer to the TYBW anime, which is the canon art style. Also, I'm pretty sure I noticed in the original anime they changed her hair color, but also her eyes are like white or silver or whatever, whereas this one is the actual blue eyes, which is canon to how she is in TYBW and I think the manga as well. As for her like proportions and all that stuff and her design, I'm pretty sure it was the same in both, so not much to say on that, and we know how that is. It's what she's very much known for. So getting into the gameplay and her moveset, it's quite funny they chose Gin as her test dummy. We all know why they did that, but anyways, no spoilers here. Well, really, if you're watching this video you probably know the basics of Bleach storyline. But yeah, we see her do like a couple basic attacks, and then straight away we get into her signature move. And you'll notice a lot of this is similar to Rukia's moveset, but slightly altered. Which is fine, I mean they're Soul Reapers after all. And that's Haro number 31, Shakuho. And the description is slightly different to Rukia's one. This one says, fires a Shakuho that travels at slow speed. If it hits, it can be used for a follow-up attack. It's a simple attack, but has a lot of utility. The issue with this is, when she uses it in the visuals, she's quite close up and we don't get to see like the speed and how far it can go with the range and all that. But I'm sure we'll see more gameplay in the future, and I will talk about the new raw gameplay we got. But I can imagine how this would be used, to be honest. It will be like throwing your opponent off guard, which seems to be a thing with her character. Then they go into spiritual pressure move number 1, and that's You're Too Slow. And the description goes as follows: a counter move allowing Rangiku to come up behind her opponent and blow them away with Shakuho. So you can see her like teleporting behind Gin. They only show it twice, but from what it seems to be, it's a fairly simple move. In fact, I'm pretty sure we've seen this with another character before. In fact, I think the same can be said for all of these moves to some extent, although I'm pretty sure they're all altered per character. Including this move, which is her spiritual pressure move number 2, Haro 33, Sokatsui. I think that was with Rukia or something like that. And the description goes as follows: thrust both palms up and down and unleashes Sokatsui, an attack with weak range and speed but high damage. Now the issue of this one is, she charged that thing up for quite a while, unless I'm overthinking it, but I feel like you'd get attacked if you're using that. But then again, I feel like if we see it with someone who knows what they're doing in like actual gameplay, maybe you could set it up nicely. Then of course the whole awakening sequence, she gets attacked. Very cool shot of her like with her eyes glowing and shit. And of course reverse fate, the usual format. Now I know something about this shot. I know this is still early gameplay, we don't even have a release date yet, and I know this is a weird thing to point out. I'm just pointing it out because it's like janky, but I noticed a lot of like jankiness and like glitchiness with her like character model, and it just happens to be in like the chest area, but genuinely there's like a little bit of jankiness. You should see it on screen, but nothing crazy really, but you know, I'm sure it will be like fixed up as the game further develops. But yeah, going on to the awakening, overturn the tide of battle, and beautiful visuals, beautiful different like color schemes and formats, like her eyes turning red in this shot here where it says her awakening description. Releasing Shikai, Heineko, changes specific actions of Rangiku's fighting style. Her signature move, high knuckle spread, is a unique fighting technique that allows her to control her opponent's movement. Now when it says control her opponent's movement, I mean we know what that means, but based on the gameplay we saw, it's hard to tell what that means. But the gameplay looks great, like it increases her range of her attacks with the whole Ash thing and sends Gin flying and she's moving around. But as for controlling her opponent, it's weird that they didn't show any of that, whatever that means. Maybe we'll see more in the raw gameplay. And of course, like a really cool like ending sequence of the trailer, like a little montage followed by another description. Rangiku Matsumoto Squad 10, strong at medium range attacks and abilities that break the opponent's rhythm. And I feel like that's important because that seems to be like the main selling point of her character, is that it's like a really tricky opponent, like as it says, breaks the opponent's rhythm, like breaks their pattern, catches your opponent off guard, that sort of thing. So that's pretty much it regarding Rangiku's new trailer. Pretty good stuff. I feel like next we'll see like Ikkaku or Yumichika, maybe both of them. The big thing that everyone's talking about is, are they skipping Renji? It's really like, I don't know if they skipped him or they think he's not exciting enough for 1 week's trailer. I've seen some people theorizing that like maybe it's because his awakening is different to others and it doesn't fit the format. Maybe it's more like a ult. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out soon. I mean, he's gonna be in the game, let's be real. It's Renji, he's gonna be there. And maybe it's for the best that they're doing this because it's more exciting, like getting a Gin trailer in Rangiku. Like they'll probably throw another captain at some point very soon. But I also want to talk about the new great gameplay we got from Crew B Inside or something like that. And it actually got Tite Kubo, the creator of Bleach himself, and some of the voice actors to play the game in like a little tournament. Now the whole thing, out of all of it, the main focus on the first fight, because the rest of the fights, other than like the final one, it seems like a lot of them didn't know what they were doing and the gameplay was a bit frustrating. Like there was a lot of spamming, people just not knowing how to do combos and whatnot, which is fine. I mean, they're like middle-aged people, they're voice actors, they're all... I think Kubo was like the best one there though. I think he played Yoruichi, which was the main gameplay I wanted to talk about. Yoruichi versus Ichigo. Now I want to say one of the things that stands out about Yoruichi is the speed, but her trailer didn't get to really show that because, you know, it's very condensed and edited. But we finally got to see more of that here, and it seems like a big thing about her is like dodging and moving side to side. And I don't know, the sauce and the swagger when she's moving side to side, it's just, I feel like I'm gonna main her. The only thing is, like, even though this person, I think it was Kubo, he knew what he was doing more so than the others, but still you could see like they're not like super experienced. I feel like when players like us get our hands on the game and we really learn what we're doing, I feel like we'll really utilize each of these like abilities. And I don't just mean the moveset, I mean like her speed, because we did get like the attribute screens or whatever, like they all have different like specialties like speed and attack and all that stuff and techniques. I feel like once you like learn the character and their fighting style, you'll really be able to like put everything together, more so than what we saw in this gameplay. But still it looked great, like the speed, the attacks, the different like the way certain attacks take off more konpaku bars. It was great. Like Ichigo's, I think they didn't call it Getsuga Tensho, it was like all out attack, but when he has Old Man Zangetsu behind him, it took away like 3 konpaku bars. That was without Bankai though. And obviously Yoruichi's Shunko, like the full power thing, looked great and has multiple levels of like ultimate attacks or specials or whatever. I don't think, oh maybe they did show her reversal gauge thing. I still don't understand how those work, to be honest. I mean, I know it's a power up, but still. I think at most you can take away 5 bars or 5 konpakus at once, but still it's hard to say. But this wasn't really like a breakdown they did, it was more so just people playing like the current version of the game or that build of the game. We'll definitely get more in the future. I saw some people saying like maybe it takes away different amounts of konpaku bars or health or whatever, depending on like your opponent's health at that point. And also of course based on the like awakenings and the bankais and whatnot, like if you're in bankai it takes away more. Honestly, it's hard to say. I also saw a lot of people talking about the block system, like some people didn't like it, some people liked it. I thought it was fine, we've seen stuff like that before. As far as arena anime fighters go, this is like as good as it gets, but then again we have Spark and Zero, but that's just my fault. And visually it looked amazing, and obviously Yoruichi stood out the most, but generally the stylishness and the animation looked great, and the design, and of course it's Yoruichi. I feel like one of the issues with Byakuya is they were getting away with spamming so much, and even the Yoruichi player was like struggling, which was the best player there and the winner I think of the tournament. I also noticed that like I think you can like charge up some attacks when when they shine red. Also, it was really cool to see how they utilized the reversal attacks, like when Yoruichi kicks upwards and then the follow-up attacks. And when the side steps are utilized properly, it really sets up some great combos and counters. Now, I did see some people like debating whether the constant text on screen is like really distracting and irritating or not. I feel like once you get the game, you're gonna get used to that after the first day. But then again, I guess we'll see. Personally, I didn't have a problem with it, except for when it kept saying now or never, I don't know. It was also really frustrating to see them not do this ultimate attacks after they see that, but these guys didn't know what they were doing, to be fair. Other than the text, like actual like cinematicness, I don't know if that's a word, the cinematicness of the fights, like when it said soul break and soul destruction as well, it all looked great to me. And a lot of people pointed out Yoruichi had the best music, but whenever a character does their awakening, their music takes over, so obviously when Ichigo does it after her, it takes over. But hers was the best by far. And even the victory screens, hers probably stood out the most, if not maybe like Byakuya. I'm really sad we didn't get to see Urahara, Kisuke. Hopefully in future gameplay we can see Kisuke, and obviously Rangiku and Gin, and Chad, and future characters as well. I feel like we saw way too much Ichigo so far, like we've seen enough of Ichigo. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get more. That's about all I wanted to say for this gameplay and Rangiku. But also feel free to let me know what you think down below. And also don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1k subs this year, and hopefully by next month. Also, I do videos on Sparking Zero and Bleach Rebirth of Souls and anime games in general. So do hit that subscribe button down below. Follow my Twitter and my Twitch in the description below. I'm trying to start streaming soon, and also I yap a lot on Twitter, so check me out on there. Check out my videos on screen now, I think you'll like them. And with that said, I've been your boy Kaizen, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.